Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. Yesterday, September 24th, it was reported that there was an accident in Seattle that shut down a main thoroughfare for much of the day. It happened early in the morning, around 5:20 a.m. And as far as I know, as someone who lives in the city, duck tours are not conducted at 5:20 in the morning. I want to say their first tour begins around 10 a.m. So what this vehicle was doing on the road in the first place is beyond me. Possibly maintenance? Anyway, it's suspicious that this Duck Tours vehicle was even out, but the casualties took place on the charter bus, supposedly. 12 people killed on the charter bus. Anyhow, the last time one of these Ride the Duck related tragedies occurred, it was earlier this year on the date of May 8th, 5/8, in Philadelphia. And right now there's a lot of focus on Philadelphia. So what I want to do is I want to go through this recent accident yesterday, show everything that is extremely curious about it. Remember, this comes on the wake of the Chinese president being in Seattle the day prior. They're saying the majority of the people killed were international students, Asian students. Anyway, we're going to go through all that's curious. We're going to go back and look at the Philadelphia train wreck, and then I want to show you a few other things that stand out. The bus where the casualties took place, you can see that it's called Bel Air. Bel Air, like the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. Bel Air has simple English gematria of 59. This is the kill number in Jewish gematria. It's also a number connected to Pope Francis, who will be visiting Philadelphia this Sunday, the Jesuit order's birthday, when he's the first Jesuit pope. Earlier this year, there was a train wreck in Philadelphia that foreshadowed the Pope's visit. That train wreck came 4 days after the duck ride crash in Philadelphia. We'll get to that. Also, notice the Jewish gematria of Bel Air, 137. Washington, D.C. equals 137. Pope Francis was in Washington, D.C. when this happened. 137 is the 33rd prime number, 33. Number we often find in hoaxes, also ritual sacrifices. In the beginning of the reporting, they were saying that 51 were injured. 51 stands out because it's the number of conspiracy. The word conspiracy has gematria 51. So does the word Freemason with the S exception. And Seattle is a very Masonic town, as I have documented in several video posts. So much Freemason coding in Seattle, from its original name, Alki, to Seattle, and more. Please see my post on Labor Day in the Seattle Art Museum if you have not seen that. Anyhow, 51 injured, a suspicious number. Later in the day, they dropped the count to 47. Seattle's on the 47th parallel. The Space Needle has a rotating restaurant that does a full rotation every 47 minutes. The word time has a gematria of 47. Huskies is the nickname of the college in Seattle. Huskies has a gematria of 47. 47, one of these very Masonic numbers, now coded into the story. Originally 51 injured, now 47 injured. Seattle on the 47th parallel. The number of critically injured went up and down throughout the day. I want to point out that Seattle is on the 47th parallel and the 122nd meridian. The number 122 is one that connects to Pope Francis as well, who has simple English gematria of 122. Just 2 days ago, I covered how when he got off the plane on September 22nd, he got off the plane at 4:04 p.m. in the afternoon. 4:04, just like Pope Francis in Jewish gematria. Again, a lot of 47 coding in Seattle. The major mountain that you can see south of Seattle is Mount Rainier. Rainier has that 47 gematria. Special number up here. Notice that Duck Tours has gematria of 132. This stands out to me because the Philadelphia train wreck happened on May 12th, the 132nd day of the year. The president of China, who was just in Seattle, was in a convoy of cars, 132 cars deep, reported on the same local news up here. 132 is 33 times 4. Special number. It's also 44 times 3. But the numbers just pop in this Duck Tour story. Duck Tour, the singular, has gematria of 113, a number often coded into hoaxes. Mainstream, green screen, dishonest, all sum to 113. Also, with regards to Seattle, Chief Seattle, that the city's named after, sums to 113. Chief Seattle gave his most famous speech in history on March 11th, a date that can be written with the day first, 11/3, just like Chief Seattle. So these numbers connect back to Seattle. Again, Seattle on the 122nd meridian. Pope Francis in the nation while this happens. Pope Francis has gematria of 122, just like train wreck. Earlier this year, there was the Philadelphia train wreck, May 12th at 9:23 p.m. Pope Francis gave his big speech in D.C. on 9/23. That speech began at 9:23 a.m. on the date of September 23rd. There's been so much foreshadowing for that date this year. All of you wondering how September 23rd passed without incident, well, all year I've been saying that it's this entire week that people should be focused on. And also, as another clue, September 23rd on the Julian calendar is October 6th on the current calendar. October 6th has been an interesting date for some time too, so October 6th approaching. Yesterday, the date of this Duck Tour crash was September 24th, which is September 11th on the Julian calendar. We'll get to that. Notice that the phrase ritual sacrifice has English gematria of 924, like yesterday's date. If this was a real incident and people really did die, it might have been a ritual sacrifice by the numbers. This Duck Tour's crash on September 24th. It took place, this accident, on Aurora. Just so you know, Truth Seeker, I used to live right by this Aurora Bridge. I lived 2 miles from there for 6 years. It is a very narrow bridge. It is Seattle's capital or suicide bridge. They had to put up a big wall about 3-4 years back on both sides of the bridge because so many people jump off it into the river below and kill themselves. Notice that Aurora has this gematria of 74, though, a number often having to do with sacrifice. On September 11th, the World Trade Centers were on the 74th meridian. They said that 4 people died. 4 dead has this gematria of 74 as well. Aurora Bridge has gematria of 119, like Star of David. Again, yesterday was September 11th on the Julian calendar, September 24th on the current calendar, where you write the day before the month. 9/11 can also be written 11/9. That conversion, Gregorian to Julian, took place on a Thursday, which has gematria of 116, like 911 upside down. All the victims were taken to Harborview Medical Center, which has Pythagorean gematria of 116. Harborview has Pythagorean gematria of 58. The last Duck Tour crash was in Philadelphia on May 8th. Notice that this comes the day before the Pope travels to New York, which has an area code of 212, like Seattle. Washington has a gematria of 212. Manhattan and Seattle also have this connection in Jewish gematria. Manhattan being where September 11th took place, like a countdown, 3, 2, 1. Also, with regards to duck, it has that gematria of 39. We're talking about Duck Tours. 39, a very special number in New York. Today, the president of China, who has a life number of 39 and 93, will give a speech at the United Nations in New York of 39 floors. 39 books in the Old Testament. New York has a lot of Revelation Old Testament coding. Going back to that Philadelphia train wreck, what first turned me onto this was that one of the witnesses in Seattle yesterday for the Duck Ride tour in the mainstream media was named Brad Volm, a 23-year-old from Philadelphia. Notice his name gematria is 33. This is someone who supposedly witnessed the Seattle crash, somebody from Philadelphia. The last Ride the Ducks crash was in Philadelphia. The person injured was a 68-year-old woman. She has some interesting name gematria. She was from Beaumont, Texas, killed in Philadelphia. I noticed that Beaumont, Texas has gematria of 52. The Philadelphia train wreck days later would have gematria of 52, or numerology of 52, just like the gematria of the word Pope. Again, this wreck in Philadelphia happened at 9:23 p.m. She was 68 years old, a number often associated with death. Caskets go 6 feet deep or 8 feet long. Yesterday's crash in Seattle happened on a date with 68 numerology. Just the connections between these duck tour incidents. The one in Philadelphia happened at Arch Street, which has gematria of 33. It was going into the Delaware River. Delaware has that gematria of 33. The crash in Seattle came just before the part of the tour where the duck mobile would normally go in Lake Union, the lake alongside Seattle. Here's the shot in Philadelphia right along Arch Street. They put out a video, a minute 53 in length, one of those very important numbers in this numerology gematria study. In this incident, it happened in Chinatown. Yesterday in Seattle, most of the the casualties were people who were Asian as well. Asian has that gematria of 44, the kill number. Makes you wonder. From May 8th to yesterday was a span of 139 days, which is equivalent to the word Freemasonry. And it is Freemasons who are behind these incidents by the numbers. The mayor of Seattle who spoke out, Ed Murray. Murray, one of these names with 33 gematria. The name Ed Murray sums to 42 like Freemason Pythagorean. Notice that Ed Murray is born May 2nd. May 2nd, number 52. This number connected to the Pope, a number that's been of great focus this year. May 2nd came 144 days before September 23rd. All of these people are Masonic men. Ed Murray would be the perfect agent liar to oversee such a hoax like this. Seattle always has scumbag mayors. Also, yesterday, University of Washington sent out this letter to all of their students. My girlfriend got this letter because she is a student there. She said, this is really weird. They have never sent anything like this to us before. But again, these universities, if this is a hoax, these universities are very much in on it. Again, Huskies equals 47. Seattle's on the 47th parallel. Nowhere at the school do they teach their students gematria, though. This is all part of the coded hidden knowledge from we the people of this nation. So that's what I want to show you, Truth Seeker. A lot of coding syncs up with Philadelphia and New York, where the Pope is to close out his trip. Whether people died or not, this was another event by the Masons, by the numbers. All right, until next time, Truth Seeker.